Welcome, everybody. Welcome back. This is the Large Guys podcast. It's been a while since we've done one of these interviews. It's a lot different from our usual show. For one, Kyle isn't here, so you can expect this episode to be less than an hour. So for all those who are listening and you're tired of like these hour and a half, 2 hour episodes, don't worry. That's no shade to Kyle. I'm just saying this will be probably a much shorter.
4 hours. This will be 4 hours. We're gonna go for it. This will be the longest episode of the Large Guys podcast.
No. He's kidding. Don't click away. He's kidding. But yes, I'm your host, Joseph Kirai. Great to be back. It's a cold day. Today is Thursday, February 11th. This episode will probably be coming out, about a week after this is recorded. But today it's February 11th. It's been real cold. This is one of our first days of a few days of being below freezing. Might get a little snow next week. It's going to be interesting. And just real quick, thoughts and prayers to all those who were affected. This morning at Fort Worth, we woke up to some really disheartening news. And so for all those who lost their lives and just anyone who was involved and all the families of those who were affected, we just sent our prayers out to you guys. And we hope that, all the families and friends are able to be on the road of recovery and healing soon. Because it's definitely a very shocking thing to wake up to and to have to hear about and to witness. But on a lighter note, we have one of our other hosts. We've got Paulo Salazar. He's all bundled up because, like I said, it's been cold, man. Whether you're inside or you're outside, it's been cold. But Pal, how are you doing?
What's up, everyone? What's up to our regulars, our casuals? What else do I say? Our new listeners coming in. It's good to be on the show with our guest. We'll get to him in a little bit, but it is cold out here in Dallas, so y'all better bundle up. Make sure y'all got the proper scrapers for your cars, because I know in Texas we don't do that stuff. Grab your beanies, cover your ears, put some thermals on, cover the goodies, especially for my bald folks. You got to take care of this.
It's true.
It gets cold, man. It gets cold up here, so that's why it's beanie season.
It is.
But yeah, welcome to the show. And so I hope you guys really got to listen to this one. I've known this man's for not that long, actually. But I feel like I've known him for a very long time. So you guys got to tune in. He's got a lot of good stuff to say. So yeah.
For sure, yeah. And just a quick plug, especially if you are new and you're here just because Michael is such a great person that you wanted to see what he had to say here. We just encourage you guys to go on our YouTube channel, subscribe to us. We're trying to get to our goal of 100 subscribers, Project 1S. If you can subscribe and you can get another person to subscribe, then we'll have 1 million subscribers in no time. But for real. Please do us a favor and just subscribe to us, especially if you really like this interview. We're going to try to do more. I know we did take a bit of a break. We did some of these, last summer, and then our schedules got a little busy and whatnot, but we're back. We're better than ever.
No, it's because no one was special enough until Michael to come along to get this.
That's true too. Yeah.
That's the real talk.
Stop, man.
So y'all better step up your game if you want to be on the show.
Step up your faith. Step up your faith real quick. No, I'm kidding. But yes, please give us a subscribe. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. If you are just the audio listening type, we're also on Instagram, Twitter, and yeah. And of course, like I said, we have a special guest. This man, yeah. I mean, I've probably known him just as long as Pau has. It's only been a few years, but definitely had many opportunities to just get to know him, to hang out with him, share some laughs, some jokes. But I'm sure that there'll be some more lighthearted, joyful moments, but definitely this is a little bit more serious, right? This is Faith by Works. And yeah, so this is an awesome brother. He's currently attending the University of Texas at Arlington. Go Mavs. And he's actually taken a step to, I guess, be a recording artist, if that
I guess, yeah.
If you consider yourself that. He's new to the game. He's coming out with an EP soon, a worship EP next week. We've got Michael Nguyen. How are you doing? Would you like to just give the listeners a little intro to who you are and what you're all about?
Oh, okay, all right. What's up? What's up, everybody? First of all, thank you, JQ and Pal. Two very fine gentlemen here, both physically and mentally. But no, man, thank y'all so much for just like having me a part of this. Like, whenever I got the text, bro, I was like, oh shoot, bro, because like I see like clips of y'all's like podcasts on Instagram, kind of follow y'all, bro, and like I was like, dude, that's freaking awesome. And then like whenever you asked me, I was like, dang, bro, that'll be dope. So I was like, I'm really stoked to be on here. But just again, a little bit of myself. I'm from Arlington, Texas. I'm a junior at University of Texas Arlington, as JQ already said. Yeah, honestly, there's really not too much to me. I mean, I'm just a pretty go happy guy, I try to smile as much as I can. But yeah, that's pretty much all about me, honestly. Nothing really crazy.
What are you studying?
Oh, okay. So I'm actually a kinesiology major, but I'm trying to do be a PA, physician assistant. So I'm kind of, got my toes dipped in a lot of areas.
Okay.
But
This man's got goals. He's got goals.
I'm trying to get there, man. Every night I cry about, bro. I was thinking about the future. It's like,
It'd be like that.
About my future.
It really
I
be
feel
like
that.
Dude,
feel that for sure.
It really be like that. So yeah, a lot of things going on with school, and then also a lot of side projects, as you've already heard. So it's just like I'm kind of just taking everything like one step at a time right now. Just trying to enjoy life and enjoy the little moments.
For sure. Yeah. And like you said, there are definitely a lot of things that you're dabbling in. We definitely want to kind of explore some of the different things that you are doing, but I just kind of want to bring it to the beginning, right? Beginning of your life, in the beginning, shout out to Genesis. But the beginning of kind of like your faith formation, growing up, what was it like? Because one of the best parts about these interviews is, I love just hearing the different perspectives that people have of their faith and what it was like first, with their faith being introduced to them, and with the idea of religion and of God and all the different stuff that comes with being Catholic, being introduced to them from the very beginning, and how that has transformed in their lives. So what was it like growing up, within your household and within your church, and how did you kind of receive that from the beginning?
Oh man! All right, so I have to like process this because
yeah,
it's been a while. But so I mean, growing up, I guess you would call me like I was a cradle Catholic. I was born like Catholic out the womb. Like family Catholic. So I was born and raised in the church, and so for all of my life, I've always like just done the typical like gone to mass every Sunday. But I mean, if I could just really just be as open and vulnerable as y'all allow me to be on here, growing up in my household, I mean, it wasn't by any means like bad or anything, right? I'm very blessed, and I wouldn't have wanted to any like I wouldn't have wanted to live my life any other way as a kid. But growing up, there were a lot of challenges. Just a lot of like family issues, and just a lot of things that I don't think a child should have to go through, right? So just a lot of there were a lot of like a really lot of dark moments, kind of just went through what like I went through as a kid, and so with those moments, it brought a lot of like moments of like loneliness, it just for a while I felt like I was kind of like abandoned, like again, don't get this wrong. Like I had very many happy moments with my family, my brothers and sisters,
yeah,
and also my friends. But at a young age, faith was kind of just like forced onto me, right? So I wasn't, what you would say, like I knew God, but I didn't have a relationship with Him, right? And that was such a big thing that I didn't realize until later on. For all my life, I was in this youth group at my church, the Vietnamese Catholic Church, called the Vietnamese Eucharistic Youth Movement. And so I've been with them for a long time. I made like some of my brothers, like my best friends, and my brothers for life. I met them since I was like a young age, right? And they've been with me like, they've been with me through the thick and the thin. They've been with me through these, those dark moments of my life. But it just, there as growing up, there were a lot of moments when I just, just was very out of tune with just life in general. It kind of pushed me away from faith, just because I didn't really know what faith was. But then moving along, just I guess my very first encounter with Christ, right, was probably my confirmation retreat. I feel like that's a really common time that a lot of people start to really find their faith, because I mean that is like when the Holy Spirit comes into really just like empowers you. And so, as I mentioned earlier, like I grew up knowing who God was. I knew like the basics, like Catholic 101. I knew all the basics just because of the other youth group, right? But I remember when I never really first encountered Christ in such an intimate way until this confirmation retreat when I was in adoration, right? And so, like I said, I've been to like plenty of adorations before that, but adoration when I was a kid was like I dreaded it, bro. Like it was like always like the first month I would hate who just sit there, you just kneel for like 30 minutes, bro. He was like, God, dude, why is this dude talking? This had like some dude talking in the background. I'm like, bro, please just let it go by fast, But
My knees hurt. My young knees
dude,
hurt.
Yeah, for
bro,
real.
my knees are hurting, bro. I don't care if they're padded or not, bro. Them things are stiff, bro. I
Always,
hated
bro.
it.
Come
Feel
on.
that.
That's
I
what we gotta
hated it,
donate. We gotta donate more to our churches so they can buy better padding for our
bro.
knees.
Better padding, dude. I'm tired of these wooden pews, man. I want some padding. I deserve better. You feel me? No, I'm just
And
kidding.
then
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
you see on the corner, some like really old lady on her knees on the ground, and you're like, damn.
Oh, and
I
yeah,
know,
man.
yeah, it's just like on
After
the
that,
floor,
yeah,
no
you can't complain
padding.
after that. Yeah, man. I'll say that's a different thing. I just hate those people. Those people, they try to like one up you unintentionally. You're just like, dang, man, I gotta do. You see like my grandma kneeling on the like the concrete floor. I was like, frick, bro. And I just go on the concrete floor. I'm like, yeah, I can do this too. Like,
Facts.
my parents used to hit me with that, like, oh man, all the suffering for God. I was like, man, you don't gotta do that to me. So I'm over here suffering. I'm like, God, you see this? God,
That's
you
so
see this,
true.
right? But yeah, anyways, just coming back to it, right? It was just like adoration for me before this was just like another, like, it's kind of like a routine thing. But this adoration was so special because like for the first time in my life, they did adoration like to where they got us into like a ring, right? And then they brought the monstrance around. They gave everyone an opportunity to touch it. And that was just something so different because like growing up, I never really got to experience that. Cause I thought like the monstrance had to be like on the altar, like we had to be like in a chapel or something like that. So it was a new experience, and like that on its own was kind of like already like breathtaking. Like I was kind of already in awe whenever I saw that, because they had like the light shining on the monstrance. You could see like the shadows on the wall of the monstrance. I was just like, dude,
Yeah.
it's like freaking like it's beautiful. But when they started walking around, like it was just weird. I got this like really weird feeling in my heart, right? It was just like it got like really heavy. And so I like really recall that whenever the priest started walking right next to, or he got to the person next to me, I like my heart dropped into my stomach, man. Like I kid you not, like I don't know why, I was just like super nervous. It's kind of like meeting, like it's like talking to a girl for the first time. Just like, dude, like what do I say? Like what do I do? Um, 'Cause I really didn't know. But then when the priest finally came over to me and the monsters in front of me, like I saw everyone else bowing their heads, so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna bow my head too. So I closed my eyes and bowed my head, and then like I touched it, like I reached out to touch it, and then like that was like one of the most like out of body experiences I've ever like had. It's like in that moment, even if it was just for a split second, it just felt like the whole room like disappeared, and it was just me and like me and the monsters right there. And it was just the craziest feeling because like all this weight that was on my shoulders, everything that was in my heart, like my heart that dropped, everything just like got lifted up, and it was like, you know, all this pain and this burden that I've had for the last like however many years, everything I went through as a kid, like for the first time I felt like someone was there for me. Um it just felt like someone gave me like a big warm hug, and it was just this kind of love that I never felt before. This love that kind of told me that you cared for, that you're loved for, you know, that they'll always be there for me, you know. And so that kind of like after that retreat, man, like that took off. Like my faith just started taking off after that, because like
Nice.
I know it's really common. Like again, like from what I've experienced, at least, like confirmation is such like it's such a life-changing thing. Even if it's only for like a year or two or like a couple months, like every person I've seen come out of like confirmation retreat or getting confirmed, like for a little bit, for us, even like for the smallest part of their lives, like their life is like changed. You know, like they've seen and they've experienced the love of God, and they've, you know, gotten to like dwell on that, and they've like seen the goodness and everything. And so for me, like I took off with my faith. Like after that, you know, I was like, man, like I want to experience that feeling again. You know, like I want to go back into that moment. And so I was like constantly diving in, trying to find out deeper and deeper. And that's when I found Father Mike Schmitz. You know, I found his videos, and that like his videos kind of like was like, shout out to Father Mike Schmitz. You know, like that's the guy, bro. If he ever watches this, like shout out to you, my man. Because he got me.
Hop on the podcast, Father Mike.
Yeah, man.
Father Mike, hop on, man.
Get some bars with us.
For sure, dude. Like he got me like thinking in ways that I haven't thought about before, you know. And so that's like how my faith started to grow. And in terms of, so I'm gonna like break this off into like two sections of my life, right? So that was like how my faith started. And now just to bring it to like a more like earthly, worldly thing, like music wise, right? So dude, it's so like so stereotypical, but like my Vietnamese parents, bro, they forced me to play the piano, right? They forced all the siblings to learn the piano and everything. So I was over there just like playing the piano. So that was like the first thing I ever learned. And it was kind of crazy because like we being forced into it, like you kind of expect to hate it, which my siblings did hate it, you know. But I remember as a kid, like we would go to some person, some lady, and I would always have to sit out because I wanted to like, my parents were like, oh, you're not old enough, your fingers are too weak to press the keys. I was like, dang, bro. So I was just sitting there watching them. I was like, dude, I want to play like really bad, right? So then like when I finally got to like learn, I was like, dude, this is like, I loved it, right? And so I've always like dabbled in music. And then I started like trying to like start like making my own stuff, own songs, like not like words, but like I was like my own like piano songs, like compose some music, right? And so like I've always had this love for music and everything. And so just catching that up into this time of confirmation, right? After confirmation, when I'm starting to experience everything, I'm diving into my faith, right? And I just like had this calling, like I was like, man, like I want to do something with music and with my faith and everything. And that's whenever one of my like big bros, my mentor, his name's Tony Lee. If he ever watches this too, shout out to that guy. He's like my big brother for real. He him and like and a couple other his friends, they want to start like a worship band for our youth group, because like our youth group, I'm telling you, like we had no idea what worship was. Like I think our you know, the only worship we knew is like during the adoration we would play like Heart of Worship like literally every month because they didn't know any other worship songs, bro. So we'd play like that or like Awesome God or like just those like, you know, all those really classic songs. But like it was just so like it wasn't bad, but it was just so repetitive, bro. Because I like like it was like a broken record, bro. You just like you hear the same song every month. You're like, all right, man, all right, I'm waiting. Like you like on cue, like you're like all right, here they're about to play this song, and then they'll stop playing. I was like, all right, here it is, you know. But yeah, dude, so him and some other people asked me, they said they want to start a band. They asked me because they knew I play the piano, and I was like, oh shoot, dude, like for sure. And dude, just being the young kid I was like, my initial thought was like, you know, I'm gonna do this and like people are finally gonna see me for music. So I was like hoping to get like popular, famous off of this, right? More well known, I guess. And that was such like, I'll talk more on that later because that was such a big thing that I had to overcome, like a whole different obstacle. But
yeah.
So that's when we created that band. We called us like dude, the name, like our name of that band was like so funny because it was like literally a joke. Like one of my friends was like, he just threw out a name, and then we joked around about it, and then somehow it just stuck. So we created this band called Neverland, right? And so for a few years I was just like, I mean, I'm still with them right now. Shout out to them too. best group ever, right? They got me into like faith. We started diving in, finding new worship songs, and we were starting to like help out our church and just like slowly introduce worship. Also, if you hear my brother in the background, just just ignore him, right? But yeah, so we were blessed with this opportunity to introduce worship to this very traditional Vietnamese church that had no idea what worship was, right? And that was just that was also such a very humbling and experience to be a part of. And so I guess like that first year with them, and we like again that first year I just took off with them. Like I think that's when I really started falling in love with worship music, just because there's just like a beauty behind the words that these artists like write, because like each song is like their own personal testimony, their own personal prayers that they are saying. And so when you sing the song, like the melody sounds good, but then once you start like listening to the words that they say, and then you kind of relate that to yourself, you kind of realize like, man, we're all hurting the same, we're all broken together, we're all broken humans, and that was just like that's kind of what really hooked me onto worship, because for the first time I started to realize that worship wasn't just a song, it was a prayer, it was your own conversation with God, it was like your cries and your everything to God. And so that first year we started holding Bible studies at our church, and we like took off, and the years passed, and we were still going pretty good for the most part, right? And then it wasn't until recent, like I think like 2 years ago, that Tony he pulled me aside one day. He kind of texted me. He shot me a text. He was like, "Yo, man, so like Neverland's getting old," because they're like I was the youngest one in that whole group. Like all of them are like y'all age, like literally like y'all age. So they're like
Whoa,
older.
hold on.
They're not y'all not old, man. Y'all feel me? Y'all still in y'all's prime, but like
it shouldn't be. Bro. It shouldn't be they're getting old. They're just not as young anymore.
Okay, then they're not as young, right? Yeah, they're growing up. They're having they had more responsibilities, that, and so he pulled me aside. He was like, man, like I'm thinking of like creating like a younger worship band that we could like mentor, and we could like not like replace us, but like to just carry out this mission to bring worship into our church, and to help the youth of our church really just come to the fullness of Christ, and so he was like, man, I would love you to lead that. And I was like, like first of all, I was like, oh shoot, that's like a lot, because being a leader is scary, especially for me as young as I was like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing. And so I started asking some of my friends, my very close friends, my brothers, and then a couple of my sisters, and thank God, like God really blessed me with, like, he really helped me invite the right people, because I feel like the people in that band, Starlight Worship right now, are exactly the people that God wanted, and they're honestly, like, if I could just talk about like the two bands, right, if you don't mind. So Neverland, right? Neverland they have a very special place, because they were the heart, and they're the jump start to my whole journey as a music minister, as a worship leader. They really got me hooked, they're like my big brothers and sisters that really mentored me, and they helped shape me, not just in faith, but also like as a person. They helped me mature a lot. They would like, they would call me out on my wrongs, and they helped me grow so much, and I really appreciated that. And so it's because of them that I was able to grow into, I guess, a good enough leader to worship with Starlight, and Starlight, right? They are just, they're something else, They're, I don't have any favorites, but like Starlight, they just have such a very big part in my heart too, just because just getting to see the fire that is growing within each of them, because like they're literally like random people, like none of them really expected to be a part of worship. Like a lot of them didn't even like know how to play any instruments to begin with, and so like just seeing them grow in faith and and musically, you know, and just see us grow as a band. It was just like really inspiring. That really reignited my flame for worship, because coming to that point, when we first started that, I was coming into college. So I was like, I was about to start college, you know. So I was kind of like getting burnt out, and I was like getting stressed with school and everything. So my faith and everything wasn't bad, but it was just like at a plateau, you know. Music was just at a plateau. You know, I just been playing piano for so long. And it made me like grow, because I had to learn how to play guitar, because we didn't have a guitar player, right? And so there's just like, Starlight has just been this really refreshing and renewing fire, right? So Neverland was like this starter for me, and like Starlight, or Neverland was like the starter, and then Starlight is like the oil that keeps me burning, and they keep me growing. And I'm still working with both bands. I love them so much, and they both just inspire me so much. Both the older brothers and sisters that mentor me, and also like my own fellow like brothers and sisters that are like around my age, that, you know, just seeing them grow makes me want to grow even more to be a better leader for them. And so that kind of brings me to where I am now, right? This whole, it is so crazy, because like thinking back on everything, like my life is like, I was literally some random kid that didn't have the best past, that didn't have the best relationship with God, was called to do his works, you know. And I just think about all these little moments that I didn't take for granted, but all these little moments that I really didn't think too much of were moments that kind of shaped me into who I am today. And so that was a really big part of that's pretty much my whole 21 years of life, just summed up into however long that was, probably like 20 minutes or something.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
It's good to hear, bro, because it's definitely a journey, and we probably could spend like hours talking about all of this.
Yeah.
But I did want to like just ask you something you mentioned, you know, being from just the younger one and part of a Neverland, right? And then having to be asked to make another band and do that. How was that like? What is that like like the aspect of mentorship and leadership like mean in your life, even like to this day, right? It was such a big part, and I guess of how you grew up as one, just a person, but also like in your journey in worship. But like, can you speak to us a little bit on like just the importance of like just mentorship both ways, like learning and then having to give back?
Oh, for sure. I definitely think like, man, like if it wasn't, honestly, if it wasn't for my big bros and sisters in Neverland, like, man, I wouldn't have grown as much as I have today, you know. So like mentorship is like such a big thing, because like they're like, being a mentor is really what's going to keep passing along this tradition. So like our mission was to bring worship to the youth, is to bring worship to like, it's just to touch God and music, because music is such a big way to like touch everyone, right? And so it's through mentorship that we actually get to pass that along, right? And so I just think that's so important, because like if it wasn't for them, you know, if it wasn't for them pushing me, then I want to be able to push these like my other brothers and sisters, you know. And we like, it would just be like a dead track. Like if they didn't do it and it stopped with me, then our mission would just be like, it would just be stopped at that, you know. And that's so like that's like, so like being a leader and being a mentor is like, it's a big task. Like, don't get me wrong, like it's super nerve-wracking, and it's like scary, but it's definitely like, it's something that the church needs, right? You know, we're all called to be leaders, and you know, it's one of those things that like we just need, like the church needs more leaders, regardless of your age. You know, we're all called to be leaders in some way. And man, like I totally forgot, like I didn't forget, but like another part of my journey that I speaking on mentors, that I just didn't get to touch up on in that story, was also the community, right? So as a senior, I wasn't part of YFL, I wasn't part of the youth or anything. But my senior year of high school, my sister, who I very much love, Julie, she persuaded me to come to a camp. And bro, she was trying to get me to come to a camp for like years, like the last 2 years. I kept saying no, just because I was shy, bro. I was scared. I was like, dude, I don't know, man. Like I want to dig deeper into my faith, but like these are strangers, bro. I'm scared. But So by the grace and by the grace of God, he gave me the confidence to go. So I found like manned up, and I went to that first camp. And if I'm being honest, like, dude, the way that the community like worship, bro, like, so before that, like I told you, like with Neverland, like I fell in love with worship. But I think I kind of fell, like I mentioned this earlier, like I kind of fell more in love with like just the whole, kind of riding that high, like being like one of like the first few, like one of very few Vietnamese like worship bands in the whole DFW areas. It was kind of like cool, like people like would come out and like they would actually like listen to you, like you're like on the stage. So it was like I was kind of like falling in love with like the earthly side of things, like the music side of things. And
For sure.
that was like that kind of like in a really like not the best way. It kind of made me like get big headed, which I eventually had to like learn that like to separate myself from the world, like because like worship isn't about being praised or like anything, because it's all for the glory of God. And so I had to humble myself really quickly, because I didn't want to get myself big headed or anything. And I was actually like, I had to be told by like my big brothers and sisters of Neverland to like not get big headed, and that helped me stay grounded so much. And I think that was a big part of how I developed into a worship leader. But coming back to the youth, like like for the first time, like seeing the way they worship for the first time, I think that was when I truly understood what worship was. Because like dude, I kid you not, like that I still remember like the whole the whole weekend of that camp. Like every worship we had was just like I was just so taken away, so breathtaking, because I thought I knew it all, but I really didn't. Like seeing it the way that they worship, how much heart and soul and passion that they put into their songs, into their cries, into their words, into their prayers is like it inspired me. And these people in the community, man, like that, like y'all, bro, like y'all are so like y'all like probably the most humble and genuine and raw and authentic people that I've ever met. And if we're talking about mentors, man, like you guys, like JQ, Pal, like man, like y'all are some of like the inspirations that I've met. That really, man, I'm not trying to like like kiss butt to this podcast, but like, dude, like I'm kid you not, man, like the community has played such a big role in my faith and just guiding me too, because man, I don't want to ramble, but like so this Vietnamese youth group, they had plenty of big brothers and sisters that taught me a lot too. But in terms of faith, they taught me, they're the ones that kind of got me started in faith, and they kind of like lighted my fire. But it wasn't until I came to the community that like I realized the fullness and truth of who God was. And it maybe like the way that I saw that these other brothers and sisters worshiping like inspired me to like want to learn how they got to that point. And it was just so interesting, like meeting so many people, like hearing their views and how they learned. Because the way that the things that the community talks about, the way that they teach is so different from how I was taught and I was growing up in my church. And it was just so interesting to finally put two and two together, that I really like. I love like the way that the community worships. And so like a lot of my worship is taken away from them. Like whenever we hold our praise and worship nights and we hold like our own Bible studies, like a lot of that is taken from the structure that I learned from the youth. And I like just love that, because the way that they worship is just so genuine. And then talking about like mentors, like again, like Pal, JQ, bro, like y'all are like some of the biggest inspirations to me, like the way that y'all devote yourself to Christ, and the way that these other brothers and sisters in the community that I could name off like so many of them that just inspire me to no ends. Y'all are like the ones that really got me to where I was, because I promise you, like if I didn't be in the community, I don't know where I would have been in terms of my faith. Like I don't think I ever would have reached this level, reached this confidence that I've ever reached in terms of worship, in terms of my faith, if it wasn't for y'all. Because y'all opened my mind. Like, y'all are like, y'all blew me away, bro. Like it was just so refreshing to see people my age and see people like, people that had similar experiences to me, that had such a deep and rich faith with God, because that was something that was so rare to me to find just anywhere. And it was just like it really was nice to finally have a place that I could call home, that could feel welcome and trusted and safe.
For sure.
So yeah, man, like, dude, yeah, shout out to the community, bro, because y'all the goats for real, bro.
It's crazy.
Every one of y'all.
I mean, the way you're speaking, like with the mentorship and leadership, I mean, like, I think it's wherever you're from, whatever like ministry or community you come from, you're always gonna need a mentor of some sort, right? And so you
For
can
sure.
become a leader yourself. And like we said, it doesn't really matter what age, like especially for you who started like who's still pretty young, I would say. We're still young, but you're just, a lot younger.
No, for sure, bro.
You
For
can
sure.
just really be a leader and a mentor, despite your experiences in age in life. And like even for me, bro, like when I met you, like it wasn't that long ago, but I personally I've probably never told you this, but I've learned so much from you. And what we're like 6 years apart, I think five. I think we're 5. I'm 26. So.
Yeah.
Just
For
right
sure,
now.
for sure.
We're about like 5 years apart, and I've learned so much from you. And I felt like there's a point where I felt like, I knew a lot about worship and this and that, right? But I've learned so much from just being able to talk to you about it, and just like even just worshiping with you about it. That one time we were able to play worship together. Beautiful, bro. Chef's kiss. Like,
Dude.
I don't even know. I think it was our first time, and I think it was just really beautiful, just because you had a group of people who just wanted to worship, and I don't even think we really. I don't think
We didn't, bro. We literally came in the day of, bro, and we literally just said, "All right, here's the set list." And we just start going. It was
you just really
hands down, one of my favorite worships ever.
So, and like, I mean, just for anyone like listening right now, I think it's just important, like, to take away that just like mentorship and leadership can really come at like all age and forms, right? So
For sure. Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. Like, it is crazy because no matter how much I think I know, it's just crazy. Like, there's always more. There's always more to learn. There's always more because you're always gonna be someone that like. So there's always gonna be someone else that inspires you more. There's always someone that kind of like knows more, like, or just in a different way. You start seeing things in a different light, and then there's things that you meet from this person you want to take away, you incorporate to yourself, and so suddenly you just like building these you kind of building your own style. You're building your own like life based on like these other people that kind of influence you, and that's like honestly, if I could just be completely humble right now and just say like everything I am today is because of the people that have influenced me in my life. Like as a youth, like the youth leaders and the music leaders, the youth like movement, like they like them like those people that I met, they've shaped me into who I was. Like my bros, that I've known for life, like they shaped me into who I was, and then the community, you guys have shaped me into who I am. So like everything I am is because of y'all, because of the people that have watched over me and taught me and walked with me through my highs and my lows. Like everything I am is because of them, you know. And also like more important because like the big man up there, right? Like where would I be without him? Where would any of us be without him? And so just really, I like to I take a lot of time and self reflection to just truly be grateful and appreciate the people that God has put in my life because um, I'm just some completely random kid that you know I'm really just some random person that by the grace and mercy of God was given an opportunity to do what I get to do. And so, without him, without y'all, like I don't know where I'd be. And that's just like me being like really like all mushy and everything. Like, yeah, dude, I'm so appreciative of everyone and everyone that I've met and has played a part in my life.
For sure, yeah. And I think that's one of the best parts about like the whole like mentorship and like or being the person that's like learning. It's regardless of which role you're in, there is something to learn because of course like when somebody's mentoring you, it's like you're like, looking up at them and you're like, yeah, tell me more. Like I want to learn more. I want to be like you. I want to do that. But then also, something that Pal touched upon is that like even when you are the leader or you're the mentor or whatever, you can definitely learn from the people younger than you and not. And I think that's the beauty of just truth is that truth comes in so many different like shapes and sizes. It comes from so many different perspectives, and it all speaks to one thing, and that's just the greatness of God, right? And so that's I love that you guys were both to share that, or you both were able to share that with us, because it's such an important thing that some people kind of think like, oh, like now that I'm a leader, that means I know everything. But it's like, no, in fact, that means that you're just getting to learn in a different capacity than you did before. And I think that's really awesome. And that's one of the best parts about like serving and leading, especially if it's for the Lord, is that there's always as much as you're giving, you're also receiving in some kind of way. And so that's really awesome. What we're gonna do now is kind of break up the interview a little bit, do something a little fun. When we bring on guests, we have this thing we do called rapid fire questions, and it's just like to learn some random stuff about you and whatnot. Play a little game, have a little fun.
Oh boy.
I mean, it'll just be 45 seconds. I'm gonna ask you like literally like I was supposed to. Before this, I was supposed to like prepare things I was gonna ask you, and then like it totally slipped my mind. So I'm literally just gonna ask you questions that come to mind right now, and then you just give me whatever answer you're able to come up with. We're just gonna try to go as fast as we can. You can hear me, right?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
My AirPods died. For sure,
Perfect.
for sure. All right.
Come on, Apple.
All right, here we go.
Dude, I know, man. Step up, man.
Yeah, come on now. All right, so 45 seconds on the clock, and we will start.
Hold on,
now.
wait.
All
Is
right,
it
Michael.
45 seconds to... Oh, okay, here we go.
Hold on, okay,
So-
we'll restart. Yeah, 45 seconds. I'm just gonna ask you as many questions as possible. We're just gonna keep like question, answer.
So it's 45 seconds for the whole thing, not 45 seconds for each question?
No, yeah, for the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you
okay,
gotta think on
okay.
your feet, bro. You gotta.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, here we go. Ready? So we're gonna start now. All right, Michael, what's your favorite worship song right now that you're listening to?
Build my life, hands down.
Nice,
My life motto.
nice, classic.
Excellent.
Who is your favorite saint?
Saint. Oh, Saint. Oh, wait. Oh, John Paul II.
Okay.
Sorry,
Okay.
I was trying to think about it.
Okay. Are you a Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, or Amazon Prime guy?
Oh man, I watch a lot of Netflix, but I would say Amazon. Man, I buy a lot of things.
Nice. Okay.
Got a lot of things to buy.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
To fly. No, teleportation.
Nice.
Teleportation.
Teleportation?
Good one.
Okay, yeah, same. That's actually what I would do. And then, so for if you're getting like fried chicken, like fast food, chicken tenders, is it Cane's, Chicken Express, or Golden Chick,
Or something else.
or a local?
I'll say Golden Chick.
Oh,
That,
okay.
yeah, I'll say Golden Chick. for
Okay.
sure.
And then the last question: are you subscribed to the Large Guys podcast?
Am I?
The moment
I'm
of
pretty
truth.
sure I am. I'm like pretty.
Moment of truth.
Dude, I'm like pretty sure I am. Dude, I follow you on every social media. Hold on, let me check, bro. Let me check. Oh,
That's not good, man. If you're not, don't say it on camera. Just say you are. And then we'll see.
oh
after-
yeah. Okay, I
Chill,
am.
man.
I am. Yeah, I am.
Bad. All right. Yeah. So thank you for playing that game.
Hey, y'all get that notification?
Yeah.
Okay.
This man's he said Golden Chick, y'all, but we're trying to get sponsored by Cane's, but it's all good. It's
Hey,
okay.
no, man. Cane's is good. Just like the coleslaw gotta go. Cane's though, I do thoroughly enjoy.
They're interchangeable. I mean, I don't know. We it's another subject.
Careful what you say there, pal. We're trying to get sponsored, bro. We don't want to say the wrong thing now.
There's different, and I think
Yeah,
Golden
yeah.
Chick's definitely more crispy, and they got the zing sauce, bro.
That's
Golden
true.
Chick, and then Cane. Anyway, so we're not gonna get into that because
Yeah. Don't want to get too off
we have
topic.
more stuff to talk about.
Yeah. So I think just the last kind of big one we kind of want to touch over is just going deeper into the worship side of your life, especially with what you're doing now or what will be happening soon. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, you are dropping in a worship EP next week. What's the official or the actual date?
February 21st.
February 21st will be Michael's debut worship EP. And so
Yes.
I know you mentioned on Instagram that it does take a lot of courage to actually, put you're basically, putting your story out there, right? With the different songs. And it's sometimes it's hard to be, vulnerable like that to even not just the people that but like just, who knows who will be stumbling across your music and whatnot. So I kind of want to start first with, since you mentioned social media, you did start an Instagram just for worship, right? And you played a lot of your covers. I think you have some of your originals on there as well.
Yes.
And so can you just kind of speak to what it was like just to even take that step, and then also the whole process of wanting to make an EP and have originals, and what it's like how do you feel now that this project is finished, and now that you're ready to share it with more people?
Yeah, so starting with that first part, right? The whole worship page, man. So like that originally that used to be like a Finsta, but then I realized like I was like, bro, Finstas are so dumb, bro. Like I posted like because like I'm being honest, like I told you at the beginning of this, I'm not a deep person, bro. Like I don't have anything to share. So like I think I posted like one thing on it or two pictures, and then I was like, bro, like everything that I ever have to talk about, bro, is not deep, bro. Like everything I have to talk about is like probably like related to worship or something, or my journey with like Christ, or like any season I'm in, right? So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna change this Finsta. I'm gonna turn it into a worship page, right? Just because at that point, like a lot of my friends already knew that I was like, we're just like, oh, just about worship. And so I guess in a way, it kind of still is, like a Finsta, I guess. Like I do vent a lot on that
Winsta,
page.
bro.
It's a Winsta. Oh,
Your worship Instagram, bro. Finsta again.
oh, you might be onto something, bro. Oh, hey, y'all heard it right here. We're copywriting that, all right?
Yeah,
We're copywriting
that's all
that.
us.
We're copywriting that.
The Winsta.
Oh,
Winsta.
dude, that works because your name. Win.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Trademark real quick. All you other wins out there, you can't be doing this. Just
Whoa.
Michael Nguyen.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so crazy. Dude. You're a genius, dude. You're freaking genius, man. I didn't even think about that. That complete. Oh my gosh. You're clean, bro. You're clean.
Yeah, bro.
Clean shaven. Clean shaven.
Mr. Clean. All right.
Yes, sir. But man, like, so I was just like, up until that point, I was like, fences are so dumb, bro. I don't got no beef with anybody. I don't got no drama to share. Like, my life is really just chilling. So I was like, man, why? Like, I love worship so much. I like posting stuff, but then I really didn't. I don't like posting stuff on like my main page. Or, like, I was really tired of posting stuff on like Twitter just because, like, dude, I was so scared. I was like, man, like these are random people, bro. I don't, I'm still kind of insecure about my stuff, right? So I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna change my friends into this because it's like a safe place. Like it's just really my friends. And so I was like, I would try to post like a cover every week, and it was just like they just be like songs that really, at the time would like that really had an impact on my life. Because like I said, every song, every worship song has like, it's like the artist's prayer, right? And so there's just so many songs that were relevant to me that touched me at certain times of my life. And when I got to do a cover of those, I just got to say these prayers that these other artists got to put out, and that was like things that spoke to me, things that needed to be said, right? And so, I was doing that for a while, just posting out songs, but then it got to a point, right, where I was just like, man, like I'm over here like listening to and really like covering these and saying these prayers that these other people are writing, but like to a point, there's just like times whenever I couldn't find a song to express what season I was in. And at a point you just like, man, like I want my own prayers to be heard because what I'm going through, I mean, it needs to be said. Like I want my prayers and I want my words to be heard. And that's when I first started writing music, right? Which is like, I would say like 3 years ago, like was like when I wrote my first one. And so like these original songs just came from like times whenever I would pray to God. It's like, God, like I'm listening to like, God, just give me a new song to sing. Cause I would like listen, I would like put the same like 2 or 3 songs on replay over and over and over. And I can never get tired of worship because every time I listen to it, there's like something new you catch. But I wanted something more intimate, something more real, something that was more me, you know? And so I started writing these songs that, you know, that literally put my heart and soul into it, because they're everything that I was going through, everything I needed to hear, everything that I needed to tell myself. So if I listen to it over again, then there's things that reminded me why I'm doing this. It reminded me of who I am, my journey, my mission. It is, you know, it was just something like, it was me, you know. It was just like, it's just something that was really personal to me. And you know, I originally, I didn't have, like, I don't want to say the balls, because I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I didn't have the courage to put that out, because again, it's like something really personal and to me. But I mean, again, it was like a Winsta, so you know, I could share whatever on that, because it was a judge-free zone, because you know. So yeah, that was definitely like the beginning of that kind of that whole page, right? Also, not to do some shameless plugging, worship
Yes.
worship underscore wait.
Under.
I think worship underscore.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. Yeah. Shameless plugging. If you want to check that out. Yeah. So yeah, and then also, like, man, just because I feel comfortable posting like worship covers, because like, bro, like, no one's gonna judge you for worship. It's like, oh man, like, this guy's just singing his heart out to God. But like, if you try to post like a regular cover, man, the people will tear you up. Like, it's like, turn this thing off, bro. It's like, they said turn it off, man.
That's so true.
Yeah, so it was really nice. But man, I will be completely honest with y'all. Like, man, like, even when I first started posting those covers, man, there was something just something that was, even though I wanted to be heard, I was just so insecure about, you know, my voice and just everything, you know, just really insecure, you know, there's just a lot of like insecurities, you know, even now, which I will probably talk about a little bit later when I talk about the EP, like, just a lot of like putting your own music out or just hearing your own voice, like, dude, like, I was like, if you're a person that likes to hear your own voice on a recording, then you're like, I don't want to say a psychopath, but you're like, you're different, bro. Because you're different, bro. Because like, when I record myself and I listen to it again, I'm like, oh my god, that's how I sound.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, this don't sound right, bro. But you know, you just gotta put it out there. But so yeah, it takes a lot of it does take a lot of courage for me to even like put some of those worship those covers out.
For sure.
Like, yeah, dude. Some of them take like a lot of takes. I would sit there for like an hour or something, just trying to just till I feel satisfied with how it sounds, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much the becoming of that worship page, you know, on social media.
No, that's crazy, bro. Because I mean, even just like posting general things on like social media is already sometimes scary enough, for myself and just even just for people. But to put something out like what you have been putting on your worship page, that takes a lot of courage. And like you mentioned it too, which I was gonna ask you about, but you pretty much talked about it, like the writing journey and writing process, which you probably talk more about when you talk about the EP. It's like, 'cause sometimes for me, it's like, bro, I cannot, for the life of me, cannot get myself to write like a song. It takes me a really long time, right? And because I don't know, I guess some people just, some people just have that, some people don't. And but what you said was so insightful and kind of eye-opening. You said it's like, you just wanted something more like intimate in your prayer with God, because sometimes you're like, all right, let me just play this Hillsong chapel album like 30 times, and then some days it's good, sometimes it's like still good, but you're like, something's missing.
For sure.
Like what you said, it's really it's your personal prayer, like something that's you in personal prayer. And I guess that's kind of really what the writing process is, just writing your prayers and thoughts. And then I think my issue is just like, wait, I need people to like this when you're writing, right? Is that something that you go through? Like,
Dude.
I need people to like this, but it shouldn't be like that, right? I don't know, because I'm not,
Oh man, that like, dude. Yeah, so I was gonna talk about that a little bit later, but like, I think that's like such a good thing to point up now. Is like, man, like, dude, sharing your own songs is like a whole different beast on its own. So like posting, okay, so I'm gonna let me take this back a little bit, right? Like kind of like you said earlier, like having confidence to like post anything like worship covers, dude. Even coming out first, like being like religious as I am, was kind of like a like it's kind of crazy because like not a lot of people really know about it, you know. Like besides the people that actually know me, like when you first see me, like if you ever meet me for the first time, you probably wouldn't be like, oh, this guy's religious, bro. Nah, man, like, dude, like it's just something that wasn't really known about me, right? And so like um like coming out, like actually sharing that and like posting like religious things on like my personal Instagram and everything. It takes a lot too, because like, man, it's like, are people gonna judge me? Because dude, it's like a whole different talk on its own. But like being Christian and being Catholic right now in today's society is like, it's kind of scary, man. Like it's definitely tough, and that's definitely a totally different talk for a different time. But so it was scary, and so like sharing worship is something that was scary, not just musically wise, like not just because of insecurities of myself, but also just because it's like scary because like whenever people start to see you as like a really religious person, they kind of start seeing you in a different way, you know, and they kind of just like put you on a different level. They're like, oh man, like this guy's like he's religious, bro. This guy's different, bro. And so like if you get scared to mess up because you know one mess up could like, you know, it backfires on you, you know. But anyways, what were we talking about earlier? We were talking about
writing and
oh yeah, writing to dude, yeah, okay. So coming to that, like putting out your own music is like a different beast on its own that I've had to learn is that like because man, I have this bad thing of just comparing myself to like all these other worship artists. And like I just had to like remember that, bro. These are professionals. They got money. I don't have money. They have professional producers. They have professional equipment. I do not. So I kind of have to like fully understand and realize like where I am. Like I'm just like a little seedling. Like bro, like I gotta work my way up if I want to get up there. But when it comes to like writing like lyrics, you know, even though I said like even though yeah, it's like it's your own prayer. In the back of your mind, there's still like a thought like, you know, like your prayer, like you want it to come out and articulate everything that you want to be said in a way that can also relate to others. Because you know, like I'm not gonna like there's no such thing as a bad worship song or anything, but there's just some like songs that I've heard. I don't know if people are like, you know, I'm not gonna say that, that's mean. I'm not gonna say they're trolling, but like there's just some songs you're just like, oh, that's interesting, that's okay.
Like
You know,
when you first heard Best Friends.
yeah, okay, yeah. So like something like that, like something that's like different, you know, where you're just like, oh, okay, cool.
Song.
It's a good song. Yeah, I mean, I love that song now, but like, it took me a while to warm up to it.
Yeah.
But it's just like I wanted to, you know, it was definitely hard because I wanted to really put my words into song and the best way without it sounding corny, because it's really easy. I feel like with worship it's so easy to sound like corny or sound like you're trying too hard. And so I think that's like my whole style of worship that hopefully y'all hear if y'all listen to it in a week is it really comes from like a lot of simplicity and repetition, you know. Like I wrote a post about this, like man, like I'm not Hillsong, like I'm not Bethel, I'm not any of these other artists, like I'm not gonna be as good as them. I have to acknowledge that, you know, like the way that they write is like crazy, dude. Like Hillsong, the way they write is like the most poetic and most beautiful writing I've ever like seen and heard, you know. But like uh you know, I definitely had that fear of like, man, like I want my words to be heard, but like and not in a corny way. Like I want people to listen to this and be like, oh man, like that relates to me. Without trying to sound too hard, because like I've learned that if I really want to truly embody my prayers and everything into a song, then I have to be who I am and who I am as a person. As I've said multiple times, like I'm a simple guy, you know. My cries are simple. My words are simple, you know, because I genuinely believe that worship doesn't have to be this really intricate and fabulous thing. Like worship is in the most raw and authentic form. Worship is like a lifestyle, which is my life motto. Like it's not it's every breath you breathe. It's everything you say. It's the way you do. It's the way you live for Christ and the way you surrender to Christ. Um, and so, um, coming to like the whole writing process with that, like, I had to like really tell myself, like, whenever I would write something, I would tell myself like, oh man, like, don't try too hard, bro. Just like write whatever comes to your heart, because whenever it's authentic, that's when people will listen to it, because it's so easy to tell whenever someone's trying too hard to push these like words that aren't used in like everyday vocabulary, to like, just be a part of it. But yeah, dude, definitely a lot of like, there is a lot of like doubts and fears whenever I write my own words, just because it's so hard to put these thoughts into words sometimes, man. Like, super hard.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess, yeah, the last part is the EP. Like, how does that process even come about? Like, when did, like, was there a time that you knew like, okay, I want to do an EP, or did it just kind of like organically happen? And it was like, oh, well, I have all these songs, might as well, put them together, see what happens.
Yeah. So, like I mentioned earlier, like, so I first started writing songs. Like, my first song that I ever wrote was like 3 years ago. Whoa, 3.5 years ago. It was a while back though. And so, yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to kind of put music out there, but I was also at the time like, I didn't know where to start, because I was like, I thought it was like super hard to get onto like Spotify and put your music out and everything. So I was kind of like, that kind of like limited me. And then also I just felt like, I wasn't good enough to put music out, right? So this whole process for the EP it's been like 2 years. It's been working in the works for 2 years, right? And so, like I said, like, I wrote my first song, and when I first wrote it, I posted it on Twitter, and then I had like people telling me like, oh, yo, bro, that's good. Like, man, you should put some music out, and everything. I was like, oh yeah, okay, sure. I always say, like, I see like a grain of salt. I was like, man, I'm never gonna put this out, because like I didn't think it was good enough, and I also didn't know how to play any other instruments besides like the piano. And I just learned to play a guitar. So, but I reached out to one of my bros in Neverland, who does like, he knows how to like mix music, right? So I hit him up one day. I was like, man, like, it was like, again, it was like a super organic thought, because like I thought like I wanted to put it out, but then I didn't know where to start. But then I was like, oh wait, I have friends that try. So I hit him up, and I being last year, I was like, hey man, like, I'm really thinking of making a worship EP. Like, I've already written a couple of songs, and now I just want to like put it. I want to like, I just want to. I kind of like, it wasn't like anything serious at the time. I just did it just because for fun. Like, I was like, man, like, I wonder how far I could go with this. Like, I wonder like just musically, like, because I wanted to learn still. Like, I was like, man, like, how creative can I get with these songs, right? And so I wrote a couple songs, and I like started recording them, and yeah, it was just crazy. It was like super, like, literally everything was like random. It's like one day I just kind of just woke up, was like, let's record. And then I was like, and then like, thank God I have so many like talented friends, like, shout out to Pal and also Jeremiah, because they helped me with like one of the very first songs, bro. Like, Pal over here like, and Jeremiah's over like, you feel me? So
we are the worst people to. No one asks us to do anything because we take forever. I'm sorry.
No, man, no.
Michael was really gracious about it.
No, man, no, bro. Like, it was even a blessing that I even found y'all, because I think like when we first recorded, all I had in that track was like piano and guitar, and I tried to add some stuff, but I'm like a super noob when it comes to like music production, because I never did it. So I was like adding my own stuff, and I was like, this sounds whack, bro. So I was like, man, maybe I'm trying to get some like drums or something. I was like, bro, who would be down to help me? Who has the freaking equipment? Because like, having music recording equipment is like not random, but like, who the heck has that, right? It's money, bro. It's expensive. And so I was thinking, I was like, oh, frick, Jeremiah's pretty freaking sick, and Pal's freaking sick with the bass too, bro. And so I hit them up one day. I was like, hey, bros, man, I'm doing a worship EP. Y'all wanna like help me out with this? And they're like, dude, thank God they said yes, because if they didn't, I don't know who I would have asked, right? And so yeah, I thank God, like by the grace of God, like they helped me out with one of the songs, and it was just, yeah, it was awesome, man. That's pretty much like the whole like musical aspect of that. But if we're talking in terms of like faith, right? Because that is, again, like I like to split everything up into like two things, if y'all don't mind, because like there's always like the musical side and like the production side of everything. But like deeper beneath all of that was this the faith behind everything, because I mean it is a worship EP, right? Um, and so like I said, when I first started writing songs, it was just because I was praying to God. I was like, God, like, man, like I want something more. Like I need I want a new song to sing. And that was like a prayer that I would constantly just pray about over and over. It's like, God, just give me a new song to sing. Whatever needs to be said, just let it be said. Just like I asked him, like, just work through me, like make me your instrument, like literally, like make me your instrument to say what you want to say. And so over like the years, he would just give me songs, because like there's so many like highs and lows that I went through, and it was crazy, because it was always in like these low moments that I found myself like writing these songs, right? And dude, I don't know how much time we have, but like
Got a little time. Got a little time.
okay, yeah. I'll try to make it short, but so the worship EP, right? It's only 3 songs. Technically, it's like 2.5. And it originally I had not so many more. I had like a couple more songs, so I had like 3 other songs that I was gonna put on it, but then I kind of had to think about it, and then I felt like they weren't ready yet, and the Lord didn't call me to share those yet, and so these 3 songs came at very different times in life. So the first song, oh man, I don't want to spoil it, but the first song came at a time whenever, again, I wanted another song. I kept saying to God, give me a new song to sing, give me a new song to sing, to just glorify him, because I was at such a good place in my life. I just wanted to glorify him in everything I had. Right. And then the second song came in the like right before COVID hit. And during this time, again, I'm only in college, bro. So like I have like a lot of things going on, like things to worry about in life. And I was just like at that point, whenever I wrote that last song of the EP, like man, I was like burnt out. I was defeated. I felt so lost at that point. Like it was crazy, because worship felt at that point, it felt kind of like a burden. As sad as that sounds, faith in general just felt like a burden, and I was just really lost. And so it was at that time that I wrote that. And so like these songs are direct reflections of every season that I've been through over the last 2 years. I mean, and it's kind of crazy, because you would think that like, oh, 2 years is a long time, bro. You should be able to put a lot more music out. But like, dude, making music is crazy, bro. It took me forever to get them written and everything. But man, like these last couple of weeks coming into releasing it and everything was like a whole different faith journey on its own, because man, just like my constant fears and doubts are like eating away at me. Um, there'd be days when I would say like, yo, I just want to scratch the project. Like it's not even worth it. And there'd just be days when I'd just be like, yo, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy enough. Like my songs aren't good enough to be heard. And so just these last couple of weeks have just been a constant like roller coasters of like, oh, I want to push it out. I'm excited, but oh, I'm not good enough. And so that's what has been really going on. Especially now, even coming into this, like I get so many nights where I'm just like thinking of like, yo, are people even gonna listen to this? Like, is this even good enough? Just constantly comparing myself to other worship artists and everything. And like, is this stuff good enough to be listened to be heard? Like, what if I'm just like scared, like what if this whole last 2 years, all these songs were just like for nothing, but then, after praying and talking to so many people about it, like you just realize that like worship isn't for everyone else, it's stuff for God, um, if it's your prayer, if you want it to be heard, then let it be heard. And so that's kind of just like really general gist of this whole journey to the EP, just constant up and downs, constant nights of drifting away, then getting pulled back. That's what the whole title of the EP is called, Found Me. And that really reflects everything that I've been through, because especially with this whole last year with COVID, it took a hit on my faith. And at times, like whenever I felt like I was lost, that it was like God that kept pulling me back. And every time I strayed away, he found me again and again. No matter how far I strayed, I was always found again. And so yeah, that pretty much sums up everything that went up into this whole project that I've been waiting to put out for so long. So yes.
Yeah, man, I really appreciate you just being very vulnerable enough to just share all the details, because hopefully for anyone that's listening to this, and when they eventually hear the EP in about a week, they'll understand just how much time and how much that you've put into this. You're really, putting in your whole life for this project, right? And I think we can all agree that this is just the beginning too, which is great. And so the fact that you were able to just shed some light on what it took just to get to this point kind of makes me even more excited for what the future holds too beyond this. And I hope that this starting point really kind of launches you into an even bigger atmosphere, but like just like an even bigger level as you continue to just improve and continue to strengthen your faith, and also your songwriting skills and musicianship and stuff like that. This has definitely been a lot of fun just to hear and listen, and that's big part of why we do this, right? So our main show on the podcast, we do a lot of fun stuff. Not that this isn't fun, right? But like this is a little bit more serious than what we usually do, right? So we're always cracking jokes on the main show. We're talking about movies, pop culture, food, whatever it is, anything in between that. But the reason why I have such a fondness for the faith episodes that we do is because it's very authentic and it's unique compared to what we usually do. But also, when I was thinking about what are we going to call this, right? Because the normal show is the Large Guys podcast, but that doesn't scream faith to you, right? And so it did take a while to kind of think about it. And, I finally arrived to the name Faith by Works, right? At first I was like Faith with Works, but then I looked up a bunch of other podcasts already called Faith with Works. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna change one word and it's gonna be unique. But I think even just changing it from with to by, it just shows that you take, and just like we've heard from your story, right? You take the foundation of faith that you have, and also the foundation of things that you're skilled in, that God has blessed you with, the different gifts, and you use that in a way that truly speaks to just the goodness and the greatness of God. It's one thing to be able to talk about faith. It's one thing to be able to, share what we should be doing as, followers of Christ, but it's another thing to actually be doing it. And just like this interview tonight and stuff that we've done before, and hopefully stuff that we do in the future, I love finding people with unique talents and sets of skills, and hearing about how, they've gone from one point of being introduced to, like for you, like the piano, right? And then taking that and joining Neverland and Starlight and being in the community, learning more about worship, and it's built to the point where wow, like I'm sure you probably never would have thought beginning of high school that you'd be here, either as a musician or even as someone in faith, but let alone to be releasing an EP for worship. And it's just a true testament, and your story is such a true testament to just how we are just capable of anything, even things that we can't even think of right now, as long as we just stay the course and just try to follow God and what the road that he's taking us on. So I think it's really awesome. And like I said, y'all, this man he's got goals. He's destined for big things. The Found Me Worship EP comes out on February 21st. So if you first of all, if you haven't followed him on Instagram, follow him, worship_worship_. It's so funny. I remember when I first got your number and I had to text you about something for like a retreat. The first thing I texted you was like, yo, is this worship? And you're like, yeah, bro, who's this?
Dude, I was like, oh shoot, the fans are calling, bro.
Yeah, that's
Like,
why I was like, dude,
made it,
well,
bro.
actually, speaking of that, do you ever get like random people who reach out like that? Maybe not through text, but like even through DM and stuff like, hey, like I don't know you, but I saw your page. Do you ever get that?
Yeah, dude, and that's actually like
That's dope.
something that, dude, actually something inspires me so much, man. Just because like it really is a boost me up because like there's a lot of days like I said earlier, like it's like man, like is worship even worth anymore? Like am I even being heard? But I think like every now and then I would get like DMs. It's like, oh man, like thank you for sharing this. Like I really needed to hear this, and I think like at the beginning of quarantine, man, I wish I did them more often. But like at the beginning of quarantine, I did do like live streams every day, and of like worship and like
3:15. What time?
it was like 3 o'clock because that was like
3,
holy hour. Yeah, so I would always try to go around that
I'd
time.
be there a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah, I know. I'll see you. I'll see you in a minute. But yeah, dude, like that definitely is like, again, it's not for like fame or anything, but it is really nice to get some words of affirmation every now and then.
For
It means
sure.
a lot to me.
Of course.
Yep.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it's nice, bro.
Pao, do you have any other questions before we wrap up?
No, I was just gonna wrap up and just it was just really nice to talk with you. But I love talking worship with Michael or just in general. So bro, even just after talking to you and after this whole thing, I'm like really excited to listen to the EP. And I mean, for the listeners as well, I really hope you guys take a listen too. It's gonna be really good stuff. And I mean, it's just I'm really excited to. It's just gonna be like what you said. It's just a new song for all of us to sing and a prayer for all of us to use. And so I'm really like looking forward to it. And hopefully we can get together one day and just hear it live and worship together in person.
sure, man.
That'd be the cool thing to do. But February 21st.
Yes,
I'm gonna be
sir.
there.
Yes,
I'll be
sir.
there.
Yeah,
So,
man. Dude, yeah, thank y'all so much for having me on this podcast, dude. Again, like it's one thing that y'all are already doing this. Like y'all asked me to be on a podcast, which I think is dope. But like also just like to be able to talk to like some of my inspirations, and really just get to sit down and tell my story to y'all. It means a lot to me because I do look up to y'all both a lot. Like not to like kiss butt again, but like just because I genuinely look up to y'all as like big bros. So I mean, I really appreciate y'all having me on this show.
Yeah, man, and we appreciate you taking the time to be here. Like we both said, you also inspire us a ton, especially with what you're doing with worship, and also just kind of seeing your journey. I mean, we've only known you basically since you joined Campus Base, but to also just see the journey that you've been on the last couple of years, and also for those who didn't know, this man is president of the UTA Campus Base right now. So we salute you for your service for sure. I know you're doing a lot of great things within your campus's ministry there, and of course you've been doing so many great things with your church. And also we'll give a plug for both bands that you're in. If you guys never heard of Neverland or Starlight, you should also look them up. I know you guys have Instagram pages. I don't know if you guys have Spotify or anything, right?
Nah, just Instagram pages.
YouTube at all?
Do we have a YouTube? Maybe. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm pretty sure we do, but I just haven't. Yeah, mostly just Facebook and Instagram.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, so like look out for their stuff. If you guys are able to take the time and just find what they're doing, look them up on Instagram and Facebook. If you
take
can.
some time off TikTok and learning all your little dances. And go on the worship page and Starlight and Neverland.
Yeah, for sure.
So
appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Sure. And yeah, like we said, Found Me, the worship EP that Michael is releasing, is coming out on February 21st. We're really excited. And like we said, hopefully you guys are more excited just by listening to this podcast. Again, we thank you, Michael, for being here. It's stories like yours that just remind me of why this podcast even existed, or why we even had the idea to do this from the beginning. And so I just like Pal said, I love just talking with people about faith and whatnot, sitting down and also just learning something new, because there's definitely a lot of things new things that I got to learn about you and your story. And so, like I said, just keep doing it, keep inspiring, keep playing, keep sharing your story and your prayer, man. We really appreciate you. And for those who are listening, like we said from the beginning, please subscribe to us. We need you. We need you, especially for all of Michael's fans, or the
I don't have
Neverland
fans.
Starlight fans, or
I
whoever.
don't have
For
fans, bro.
those who know him only as worship, not even as Michael Nguyen. If you're listening to this, please subscribe, man. We're trying to do more of these, like I said.
Subscribe so we can get Michael back and give him some little monetary donations.
Exactly.
Subscribe. Michael will be back on the show. We'll talk about
for sure.
more of the just
for sure. Yeah.
When the show, bro.
In about another year, maybe like 2022, 2023, when Michael's getting ready to release his debut album, right?
Yes, sir.
And he's about to go on tour and open for like Elevation or
man,
whoever, or Cody Carnes. I don't know, whoever. But yeah, no, definitely we would love to have you back on the show another time, because there's, like you said, there's so many things we can talk about, whether it's worship, faith, whatever it is.
hoop, basketball.
Hey, for sure, man. Anything, man. Anything.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But yes, thank you so much. Thank you to all those who are listening. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and of course, subscribe to us on our YouTube page. Thank you for listening, especially if you've been through this. Again, this was probably shorter than what you're used to if you're a usual listener. But if you're new, we're just trying to bring more heat like this. But again, thank you guys so much for listening and for supporting us. Support Michael. But until next time, we'll see you guys later. Peace out and God bless.
God bless y'all.
Latest.